Welcome, Class 10 students, to this explainer. Okay, we are jumping right in today. We're looking at an absolutely beautiful, traumatic scene between Lord Rama and the young twins, Lava and Kusha. But listen, we aren't just going to sit back and read a story today. As your Sanskrit teacher, my mission is to help you dig out those clear, high-scoring grammar opportunities that are hiding right in plain sight inside this dialogue. We're going to extract the exact grammar rules you need to crush your board exams straight from these very lines. Let's do this. So Rama is looking at these incredibly bright, beautiful children, and he asks them, Kshatriya kula pita mahayo, Surya chandrayoho kova bhavitor vamshasya karta. Basically, he is super curious and asking if they belong to the royal lineage of the sun or the moon. Now, tucked right inside this very question is a specific, highly testable compound word that you absolutely need to know. Notice carefully here, guys. Look at the word Surya chandrayo. This right here is a picture-perfect example of a dvandva samas. And remember, in a dvandva samas, both terms in the compound are equally important. It literally translates to the sun and the moon. It's exactly like saying mata pita rao for mother and father. Both the sun and the moon hold total equal grammatical weight here, which makes it a classic dual compound that examiners love to test. Then, Lava answers the question by saying sahasraditihi, telling Rama that they belong to the lineage of the sun. But what is really fascinating here is the grammar Lava actually chooses to use to say that. It's a brilliant bahuvrihi samas. Unlike our last example, a bahuvri compound points outward to a completely third, separate entity. Think of the word dashanana, meaning he who has 10 heads, which, boom, immediately points your brain to Ravana. Similarly, sahasraditihi literally translates to he who has 1,000 rays, which points directly to the sun god. Moving right along to section 2, identifying the twins. So, when the Vidushaka, the jester of the court, asks if both boys have the exact same answer regarding their lineage, Lava answers, Bratharava wam sodaryao. Lava confirms they aren't just brothers, but they are sodario. And honestly, this is what I love about the language. It brilliantly illustrates how Sanskrit grammar works. The proper grammatical expansion, or vigraha, of Sodarayu is samanam udaram yasya, which means those who share the same womb. Sanskrit literally condenses this entire deep biological and emotional concept into one single powerful and highly scoreable exam word. So pro tip, whenever you see the word Sodarayu, you should immediately think of real biological brothers. Okay, section 3. Introducing the disciples. Lava introduces himself, saying he is Lava in the service of the noble Rama. Then, pointing right over to his brother Kusha, he says Aryawopi, meaning the noble one also. It's such a tiny, easy-to-miss phrase, but it hides one of the absolute most common Class 10 Sandhi rules you are going to face on test day. The absolutely crucial point here is splitting Aryopi into its Visarga Sandhi roots, which are Aryaha plus Api. It works exactly like that super famous example, Kaha plus Api, magically becoming Kopi. Understanding exactly how these syllables merge is completely essential for your exams. Lava names Lord Valmiki as their teacher. Rama is curious and asks, by what relationship? And Lava answers with this single, profoundly heavy word, Upanayono Padeshana. He's basically stating that their formal relationship is through the sacred thread initiation ceremony. Now this word right here, it is a classic board exam favorite. It seamlessly blends Upanayana and Upadeshena, using guna sandhi. When you break down the split, the word Upanayana ends with a short A sound. The word Upadeshena begins with the short U sound. In guna sandhi, when an A meets an U, they combine forces to form an O sound. Just like Surya plus Udaya becomes Suryodaya. Hence, we get Upanayanopadeshena. Simple, right? So, what should you absolutely take away from today's explainer? It's these high-frequency grammar rules. We saw Dvandva samas, where both words are totally equal. We saw Bahuvrihi samas, pointing to an outside third entity. We mapped out Visarga Sandhi using that sneaky avagraha symbol. And we just looked at how the Katot Pratyaya forms past participles. Drilling these rules is guaranteed to boost your confidence.
Finally, Section 6, Final Practice Quiz. Let's see what you remember.
Here is your first question. what is the correct sandhi split and corresponding rule for the word upanayanopadeshana? And hey, for bonus points, what is the vigraha for the word soderayu? Think back to the breakdowns we just went over. I'll give you a second to lock in your answers.
Okay, let's check. For the first one, the answer is upanayana plus upadeshina. And the rule is guna sandhi. And for the bonus word, sodaryau, you should have remembered samanam udaram yasya. If you remembered those specific rules, give yourself a pat on the back, because you are perfectly on track for your exams.
When Rama asks his question, Lava answers with completely genuine innocence. He just says that no one in the penance grove uses his father's name. Now let's break down that term for penance grove, tapo. You've got to remember this is a classic Taparusha samasa. It breaks down to tapasavanam, meaning the forest of penance. In a Taparusha compound, the second word is dominant, while the first word modifies it. Lava's innocent ignorance about his own father's name in this tapawana immediately piques Rama's curiosity. It's a very strange custom, isn't it? But then Lava's brother, Kusha, steps in. He says he actually does know the name, and when Rama prompts him to share it, he reveals it is Niranukrosha, or the Ruthless One. Rama immediately notes to his friend that this is an incredibly unique and unprecedented name. I mean, nobody just names their child something so harsh. This title carries immense emotional weight and points to a very specific, dark kind of pain. Understanding this specific moniker is absolutely crucial. The word Niranukrosha. Students pay super close attention to this one because it is a textbook perfect example of a Bahuvrihi samasa. It breaks down to Niragata Anukrosha Yasmat Sach, meaning he from whom pity or compassion has departed. In a Bahuvrihi compound, the words combine to refer to a third entity altogether. It functions as an adjective describing someone, pointing to a permanent, ruthless label given to a man who is seen as completely lacking in empathy. The rapid-fire dialogue just continues to escalate from there. Rama's friend and companion, Vidushaka, steps in to play detective. He asks the boys who calls him the Ruthless One. To ask by whom in Sanskrit, Vidushaka uses the instrumental case, the Tritiya Vibhakti, asking Kena. Kusha replies with a single, devastating word, mother. Just pause and think about the implications of that for a second. These boys only know their father by a cruel, Bahuvrehi title given to him by their own mother. Vidushaka is smart, right? So he logically tries to deduce the context. He investigates the mother's tone. Does she say this out of anger? Or is it just her natural disposition? In Sanskrit grammar, words denoting nature or disposition, like prakriti, take the instrumental case, the tritiya vibhakti, becoming prakritya. He's trying to figure out if she speaks this way prakritya, naturally, or if it's just a passing insult born out of a fleeting argument. Kusha then reveals the exact context, explaining that if his mother sees any naughtiness from them, she scolds them. Let's look at the grammar of that scolding. Do not be so restless. When giving commands or scolding in Sanskrit, we use the lat lakar, the imperative mood. By using the lat lakar to demand they stop their childish restlessness, she is tying their bad behavior directly to the ruthless nature of their father. Hearing all of this context triggers a massive internal crisis for Lord Rama. He starts furiously connecting the grammatical and situational dots in his own head. The circumstances of a banished wife, twin boys, a mother harboring deep resentment. He realizes he is literally piecing together the syntax of his own tragic life choices. It's like a mirror reflecting his darkest past right back at him. And here is where we get Rama's painful realization. He silently says to himself, shame on me. In Sanskrit, the word for shame or condemnation is dhik. Rama's internal monologue reveals this profound guilt. He laments that his exile and separation are incredibly long and agonizingly painful. Think of this Sanskrit phrase for a long exile, Durga Pravasa. This is a classic Karma-dharaya samasa, where the adjective long directly qualifies the noun exile. They are in the exact same case, making the pain grammatically and emotionally inseparable from the experience itself. He bears this heavy burden in complete silence, tears literally welling up in his eyes. Driven by this painful curiosity, Rama discreetly pushes his friend Vidushika to ask the final question, stating he wishes to know the mother's name. Now, when expressing a desire to do something in Sanskrit, like wishes to know, we use the two-moon pratyaya, which is an infinitive suffix. So the verb to know becomes jñatam. Rama uses this jñatam ichami structure to keep his royal composure while desperately seeking confirmation. Lava explains that his mother actually has dual identities depending on who is addressing her. The residents of the penance grove call her Devi. In Sanskrit, grove residence translates to tapo vinavasina, which is an awesome example of an upapada tatpurusha samasa. But the great sage, Lord Valmiki, calls her by a completely different and far more intimate title. Valmiki calls her Vadu, which translates directly to daughter-in-law. The fact that the revered sage affectionately uses this very specific familial term almost entirely confirms Rama's agonizing suspicion. Since Valmiki gave Sita shelter when Rama abandoned her, treating her with the title of a daughter-in-law is the ultimate confirmation of her identity for Rama. But just as the tension peaks, both boys announce that the teacher's messenger is hurrying them away. In Sanskrit, teacher's messenger is upavya duta. Here's another great Tatpurusha Samasa example for you. Upavya yasya duta, the messenger of the teacher. The real world suddenly intrudes on this deeply personal moment, and Rama, ever the dutiful king, replies that he must also respect the sage's command, transitioning us back out to the grand mythology. As the boys depart, Rama praises the epic they are about to sing in a really beautiful shloka. In these verses, pay close attention to the compound words and sandhis. For example, when he refers to something unprecedented descending to earth, we often see the visarga sandhi, where an a sound followed by an a turns into an o with an avagraha. That's that little s symbol you see in Sanskrit texts. He lists all these magnificent elements coming together, shifting our focus to the unprecedented scale of the story. And that leaves us with this powerful final thought. If this ancient story can bring a stoic king to hidden tears, it's partly because of the incredible mathematical precision of the Sanskrit language. Understanding the samasas, the vibhaktis, and the lakars doesn't just help you pass your Class 10 exams, it actually unlocks the raw pain in divine poetry hidden inside the words. So how does this unique combination of grammar and emotion continue to purify and delight us even today? Thanks for joining me to unpack the grammar and the drama of this incredible explainer.